What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Week 10, we're going to look at the wide receivers and the tight ends. And in this video, we already did the running backs yesterday, so make sure to check that out. Let's just hop into it. We're going to go top to bottom, highest total games, the lowest total games. In general, you're going to have more plays in the higher total games. That's just how it works. We're chasing for yardage, we're chasing for touchdowns. So, first game, probably the best game of the week. There are a few good games, but this is probably the best game of the week, is Saints at Bengals. Even though the Saints are projected to score about 30 points, I would say that it's pretty clear. Nothing really changes on the Saints side of the ball. We're looking at Michael Thomas, an obvious play, and then Tre'Quan Smith. And Tre'Quan Smith is still only a flex play at best. He's still only going to see 5 to 6 targets in this game, even though the Bengals are really bad on defense. It's just a run-heavy team that likes to use Michael Thomas a lot. So they're still going to use Kamara, they're still going to use Ingram, they're still going to use Thomas. So Tre'Quan's more like the fourth option in that passing game. We know that Des Bryant tore his Achilles. We know Cam Meredith's on IR. So the targets are basically going to those four and some sprinklings to the tight ends. But all we're really looking at is Michael Thomas and Tre'Quan Smith. On the Bengals side of the ball, they've got a decent amount of injuries. It's basically made Tyler Boyd a must-play in DFS, and in season long, like you're starting Tyler Boyd. He's got a dream matchup with the Saints. The Saints corner is just not able to really stop anyone, and Williams, their slot corner, is just pathetic. So they can't stop anyone in general, but they definitely can't stop the slot wide receivers. So Boyd should be heavily targeted, heavily involved, should have a good game. I'm not touching any of the other receivers on the Bengals side of the ball. You could play John Ross, you could play all those backup guys, but it's just not worth it. I would stay away from anyone else in the Bengals, from the pass catchers. This game's interesting. I noted in the other video that although it's a 51 total, I expect it to be more pass heavy, more of the production's coming from the wide receivers. We've got Paul Richardson on IR now. The entire offense of the Redskins is also being decimated by injuries. So their offensive line is really banged up, and the Bucs are better at run defense than pass defense, but that's not saying much because they're like a historically bad pass defense. They're still not good on the ground. But you can't imagine that the Redskins are going to try and run the ball that much. We know that, as I said, their offensive line is banged up, so they're probably not going to try and lean on Adrian Peterson as much as they have been. And we know how terrible the Bucs are at pass defense. So, having said that, you're not really starting Doxson because he's fairly mediocre. You can start Maurice Harris. I think that if Crowder is out, like Crowder changes a lot. I'm going to sneeze in a second. I guarantee it. Okay, what am I? Crowder changes a lot. If Crowder plays, Maurice Harris plays on the outside. Crowder doesn't play, Maurice Harris plays on the inside. We prefer Harris to play on the inside. It would lead to a higher target projection, and it would also lead to just a better matchup in general. But regardless, I think you can play Maurice Harris in the flex. I probably wouldn't play Crowder unless I was desperate, and I wouldn't play Doxson unless I was desperate. So even though this is like the dream matchup, I wouldn't play anyone except for Maurice Harris. Even Jordan Reed. Like I don't even know if I'd play Jordan Reed if I had him. If you're desperate and he's the only guy you got, I'd play him. But other than that, I wouldn't be playing any Jordan Reed. On the Bucs side, it's even better. I mean, teams skew super pass heavy when they play Washington. So you're starting Mike Evans, you're starting Jackson, you're starting O.J. Howard, and you can start Chris Godwin. I think all of them can have good games. I think Fitzmagic can have a good game. They're projected to score about 27 points. I think they can push 30 points in this matchup. So I would start all of them if you have the ability to do that. This game already played on Thursday, so we'll skip over that. The Falcons at the Browns should be a solid game if the Browns can keep this one close. It opened at 3.5. It's back. It's up to 5.5 with a 50.5 total. Julio is in a good spot, but also Calvin Ridley's in a really good spot against this Browns defense that is better against the pass, but that doesn't mean they're elite against the pass. So I would start Calvin Ridley if you have the opportunity to start him. You're definitely starting Julio, and then I would start Austin Hooper as well. Probably wouldn't touch any other pass catchers on the Falcons. On the Browns side, we know the Falcons aren't that great at defense either. So definitely starting Njoku, and you're definitely starting Landry. Other than that, I'm not touching those ancillary pieces. I'm not touching the Rat Man. I'm not touching Callaway. Just leave them on benches or on free agency. They're not really worth a roster spot. This game is extremely interesting because I think I'm just different from Vegas. I don't think that the 50 total is accurate, and if it is accurate, I think that it would be more garbage time points than anything. I think this game is going to be pretty ugly. The Chargers are going to be able to do whatever they want to do against this pathetic Raiders team. This Raiders team has one of, if not the worst pass rushes I've ever seen in my life. So Rivers is going to have all the time he wants. Whenever they want to get Eckler involved, they will be able to. Whenever they want to get Gordon involved, they'll be able to. The issue with the receivers is that the volume won't be there. They're going to play slow. They're going to run the ball because they're going to have success running the football. So you can expect Gordon to have a good game. You can expect, Keenan Allen to do his usual, so you're starting him. But it's going to be kind of slow. And then the Raiders are going to get the ball, and they're going to move kind of slow. And they're going to try and run the ball. So I don't see this being at 50. Like I said, maybe in garbage time if the Chargers put up 30 and then they just allow, they allow them to get to like 20 in garbage time. Maybe that happens. But I can't see myself trusting any wide receiver on the Raiders side. And on the Chargers, it's really just Keenan Allen. And that's it. That's really all I have for this game. I don't trust anyone on the Raiders, and I don't think the volume will be there for any of the ancillary pieces other than Keenan Allen on the Chargers side. This game should be fun to watch. I think it's going to be closer than the 10-point spread. So I'm writing up the DFS article right now. It's going to be up maybe like noon, 1 o'clock. And I kind of touched on this game because look at Vegas. I mean, Chargers Raiders is projected to be 30-20. 10-point spread. This Seahawks Rams game is projected to be 30-20, 10-point spread. It's supposed to be the exact same game, but I like Gurley a little bit more than Melvin Gordon. They're pretty similar price on DraftKings. Obviously, for this, you're starting both of them, but I think that this game has more of a chance to hit over than the other game. And I could be completely wrong on that because the Seahawks will run the ball down 20. They don't even care. But I do think that the Rams will be able to put up points. So you're starting all three wide receivers without question on the Rams side. And then on the Seahawks side, you're still only starting Baldwin as a flex, maybe Lockett as a flex in a deeper league, but I wouldn't trust any of them. I think that the ground game can have success on the Seahawks side. So I think that this game could be more competitive than Vegas thinks it's going to be. But you're still not trusting. Ideally, you would not start any Seahawks wide receivers, and you would start all three Rams wide receivers. But I think that game can be a little more competitive than Vegas does. This game is probably going to be real ugly. I don't believe I like the move at offensive coordinator for the Cardinals, but it's just they haven't had enough time to actually fix everything. They are going to get Ricky Seals-Jones, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and David Johnson. Those are the guys on the Cardinals that they are going to try and involve in the offense more than they have. Leftwich is going to do his best job at doing that, and I believe that he is actually going to try and make this offense utilize David Johnson more. This week, you see the Chargers, and you think, oh, Chargers are going to put up 30-something points, and then the Cardinals are going to just climb into the mid-20s. Well, probably not. The Chiefs are a very difficult place to play when the Chiefs are at home. So when you're on the road going to Arrowhead, it's a very difficult place to play. And I just don't think they've had enough time to really fix the offense. And the Chiefs have actually been better on defense than people think this season. I thought they would be dreadful, and they've actually proved me wrong. They've been actually pretty, not good, because they're really, really bad against the run, but against the pass, you wouldn't think they'd be good, but they've actually been solid. So I don't really want to touch any pieces on the Cardinals. I'd bench Fitz. I'd bench Kirk. I'd bench Ricky Seals. You're playing David Johnson because you basically have to. But on the Chiefs side, you're starting Kelsey. You're starting Tyreek, but you can't trust Watkins. He is probably going to play. I think he'll play. If he doesn't, you can't trust Conley. But even if he does play, I'm not starting Watkins. So it's only the major pieces you're starting there. This will be a pretty boring game. The Dolphins traveling to the Packers, and I'm starting Marquez Valdez-Scantling more than likely on my main team. I think you can start him in season long. Xavier Howard is more than likely going to shadow Devonta Adams, and while that doesn't mean he's going to shut him down, I believe that Xavier Howard is one of the better cornerbacks in the league, one of the better shadow corners in the league, and he is going to do a decent job at least slowing down Devonta Adams. You can kind of think of it like last week when the Patriots put Gilmore on Adams. He slowed him down for most of the game. Like, Adams still got his. Didn't have an exceptional game, but I think it's going to be a pretty similar outcome. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling is gaining the trust of both the coaching staff and Rodgers, and that's huge. You can be very talented on the Packers, but if you don't gain the trust of Aaron Rodgers, he just won't throw you the football, even if you're open. Well, he just gained the trust of him in recent weeks. His snap count's going up. I think you've got to own him, and I think you honestly have to play him. I think he's a really good play this week, and I will be playing him in my lineup on DraftKings. On the Dolphins side, nah, just no. Like, that's really all I'm going to say. I don't want any piece of that offense at all. It's just bad. Patriots at Titans. News as I'm recording this has not come out yet on Gronk. I don't expect him to play. They have the bye next week. He's been banged up. He hasn't been practicing too much. I just don't think he's going to play in the game. But that doesn't really change much other than that you're not starting him. You still can't play Hogan. He's just not involved in the offense right now. But you have to play Edelman. You have to play Josh Gordon. I'm not expecting monster games from these guys because they're still, I think Michel's going to play. I'm not confident in saying that. If he doesn't, we already know that White's going to be an elite play, and then they're going to pass a ton. But still, it's just Edelman, and it's just Josh Gordon as far as the receivers are concerned. On the Titans side, Corey Davis is probably not the best play this week. He's very cheap on DraftKings. I think a lot of people are going to go there, and it's possible that he gets lucky, doesn't get Gilmore for a play, and just busts a long touchdown and just bails people out. But in season long, it's just not worth the risk. Gilmore is a fantastic corner who will be on him. I would just think that he's going to be on him. But there's no one else. I don't think Taywan Taylor is going to play this week due to the injury. And you're not starting Tajay Sharp because he's Tajay Sharp. You're not playing him season long. So I just don't want any part of the Titans offense. This game, I'm surprised it went down in total the more that I looked at it. There's a definite chance that this game shoots out, not because Bortles is any good, but just because both teams are just like, their matchups are just fine. Like, the Jaguars are solid. They're solid on defense. They've been really good on defense, but Andrew Luck's not trying to push the ball downfield. So if he can just dink and dump on the Jaguars, I don't think they're going to be an overly concerning matchup for him. So I think you can start Hilton. I think you can start Jack Doyle. I'm starting Jack Doyle on my main team for season long, not for DFS. But I think that although the Colts defense has been solid, that Bortles can dink and dump his way down the field with his plethora of different wide receivers. Are you starting any of Bortles' weapons? No. You're not starting anyone on the Jaguars. But I think this game could, approach 50 for the total. But I'm not starting any Jaguars wide receivers, any pass catchers on the Jaguars. And the Colts is just Hilton and Doyle. Those are the only guys you can really trust in the matchup. But I do think it's a sneaky game for an upside standpoint. On the Giants at San Fran, I think you're starting Evan Ingram. People are low on him. I don't really 100% know why. I know that the 49ers are like not a dreadful defense or anything, but they're not a scary matchup, and Evan Ingram isn't like bad. People are really down on him, I feel like, right now from what I've seen across the injury industry. He got a decent amount of targets before their bye, and they've got weapons to take the defenses away from guarding him. So I think that you're starting Evan Ingram if you have him. You're obviously starting Odell. And then Sterling Shepard is a fine flex, but I would probably go elsewhere if I could. We all know Nick Mullins is a god, but he just doesn't have really anyone to throw to besides Kittle. So the only person you're starting on the 49ers is Kittle as far as the pass catchers are. This will be a fun game to watch just because of, interdivision stuff. But Lions traveling to the Bears, projected to score about 18 points. Pretty ugly. I just don't understand why they got rid of Tate They should be such a good offense, but he's just bad. Like, I've not liked him when he was on the Patriots defensive coordinator. I did not think he'd make a good head coach. I do not think he makes a good head coach. I don't understand how you can have such elite weapons on offense and be so terrible. Like, I'm not going to say they're terrible, but so terrible in terms of what they should be. They should be scoring 30 a game, and what they do. They're projected to score 18.5 this week. They should be so much better than they are. That's just bad coaching as far as I'm concerned. I wrote up in my article, which I will finish soon, I promise, that Golladay is a great GPP play. In season long, you probably have to start Golladay and Jones. Just don't expect massive volume and don't expect massive production because the Bears are one of the better defenses in the league, and being on the road just doesn't set up well from the Lions side of the ball. So if you have really good options, like, you could stay away from them, but you probably don't, unfortunately. So you got to start them. Bears side, no one. I don't want to start any wide receiver on the Bears. I don't even want to go into the analysis. It's just Trubisky's fine, but he's not that good, and you can't trust anyone on the team. Only person you can trust on Dallas is Amari Cooper, and it's a solid matchup for him. I think they're going to have to get him involved. I think they want to get him involved to prove that they'll never be able to prove that he's worth a first-round pick, but they want to try to do that. So look for him to be involved and be involved in the red zone because they want to get him touchdowns. So you're starting him, and then on the Eagles side, you're starting Alshon. I think you're starting Tate. People are also down on him. I understand that any wide receiver who changes teams, even in the offseason, typically that first year, it's just tough. So asking someone to switch over, only get one real week to acclimate to the offense. I know they had to buy, but in general, he probably only had like a week of actually like getting involved after knowing at least an okay amount of the playbook. So I'm not expecting Golden Tate to be amazing, but he's got a great quarterback. He's got a solid matchup, at least the best matchup of any pass catcher on the Eagles. So I think you start Tate in your flex. I think you can start Alshon as a 2, and then you can obviously start Ertz, who's like either the best or the second best tight end in the league right now. And then we'll close things out with the worst game of the week, Bills at Jets, where you start no one. Just don't start anyone. Could we see Robbie Anderson bust a long one with Magad at quarterback? Sure, but don't trust it. So don't start anyone there. 36.5 total is just pathetic. So that's it. That is the breakdown of the pass catchers, both tight ends and wide receivers this week. I will have the DFS article up hopefully within the next 2 to 3 hours. I'm finishing it up now. There just hasn't been a clear option this week. There's definitely a tournament week. I cannot come down to one lineup at the moment. But that's the end of this one. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, how about we hit that like button? How about we subscribe if we're new? Thanks for watching.